Mayor Jacobs,
I am here.
Committeeman Hickey,
Here.
Mr. Walter.
Here.
Mr. Leonard,
Here.
Mr. Rodelius,
Here.
Mr. DiGiovanni.
Here.
Mr. Wild,
Here.
Chairwoman Betcha.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Bedminster Township Land Use Board was filed with the Township Clerk, sent to the Bernardsville News and the Courier News and to all subscribers, and posted at the Township Municipal Building, 1 Miller Lane, Bedminster, New Jersey, on January 10th, 2025.
Please stand for the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll open it up to the public if there's anything that you'd like to make a comment or question. That's not on the agenda. Open it up to online.
Online, we just had Dr. Gaffis and Mr. Collins, so if either of you have something that's not on the agenda that you'd like to discuss now, please let us know. You can unmute yourself or raise your hand.
No, I'm just here relative to a certified letter I received.
That had to do with the application.
Okay.
Which is in the 200-foot list.
Oh, okay. Glad you're online and you'll hear the application. Okay, we have minutes that we need to approve. Let me close it to the public. We have minutes from January 9th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I think everyone was here that night, I believe.
Just have Brian,
Oh, Brian, right.
right?
Brian was not here. Okay, you are now. Good, minutes are approved. New Jersey American Water, I guess, determination of completeness call?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is a application for a water treatment system to be installed at the New Jersey American Water storage tank on the Hamilton Farms property. We've had a special use permit for the system for a while. They've run out of their time where they can continue the special use permit, so they need to get a temporary site plan approval for that. They're unsure how long it's going to have to be there. Relatively simple application on a small portion of the property. My letter identified a few waivers that are required, and subject to those waivers, my recommendation that the application be deemed complete.
Okay. If we need to approve it, and we need a motion.
Mayor Jacobs,
Aye.
Committeeman Hickey,
Aye.
Mr. Walter.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Rodelius.
Aye.
Mr. DiGiovanni.
Aye.
Mr. Wild,
Aye.
Chairwoman Betcha.
Aye,
They have already requested the April 10th meeting.
okay. All right, we have some new business. We have the affordable housing. Frank, you going to be the speaker on this?
Well, to the extent that we are in the process of responding to the requirements of the law, we have accepted the number that came from the state. So we are not one of the towns that are being challenged by the Fair Share Housing Center to reduce or change our number, to increase our number. So we're planning for a number 78, I believe it is.
72.
72.
Right, of course, because everything divides into 16s and it's an 8. So we don't have a heavy lift here, but we have a job to do. And when I say we don't have a heavy lift, I was in the process today of telling Judge Jacobson about what a bad guess could mean for a town if you overestimate the affordable housing obligation. And I pointed out to her that you came out of that litigation that produced the Hills with the court determining that you owed 819 affordable units. A couple of years later, the Council on Affordable Housing came out with a number for you, and it was 155 units. So you multiplied the 819 units by 5 to get what you thought you had to produce. That's why we have almost 4,000 units in Pluckett. But you only would have had to multiply 155 units by 5. So the upshot of all that is you have hundreds and hundreds, when we went to Judge Serpatelli, and after 698 of the 819 units were constructed and occupied, and we said, don't you think we did enough? He said, well, it was beautiful because Henry Hill, who had sued the township, was one of these people who had a private plane, and to get to his private plane from his car, he had this little motorbike that would go 35 miles an hour. So he's going between his plane and his car, falls off, breaks his leg, shows up in court with a cast on, looking like somebody just got, looking sympathetic. And Bedminster, Howard Cohen makes this argument why we should have the reduction. And Henry jumps up and down and starts says, Judge, don't you remember who these people are? And Judge Serpatelli looks at him and says, Mr. Hill, Bedminster probably has already done what they need to do through the year 2025. Sit down, please. And he changed the number to time served. So you, like I said, you've got a relatively narrow obligation, but we do have to find the small number of family rental units that are required. You have family units all over the hills, but they're not rental units. So
And that's
That's-
what they have to be, rentals? The 72 have to be rentals?
no, not at all.
Oh, okay.
25% of the 72 units have to be rentals, and half of those have to be family rentals. And some of the rentals can come through group homes and other types of non-housing unit type, bedroom type units. So we're putting together a package of all that. I'm not in a position right now to tell you about that. I should have sent you, and I meant to, and I told Janine to put this on the agenda, send you the part of the housing element that you're going to find most boring. Because if you've seen them before, you're going to realize that there are a whole bunch of pages that tell you everything we know from the census about income and demographic characteristics and household sizes and household characteristics. And that's all the housing element part of your housing element and fair share plan. The fair share plan part is the part that the mayor has been focused on for a long time, where we've got to come up with the right way to add up the numbers, but we don't have to get to a giant number, but we have to come up with a smart way to do it. And because I don't think we are right on tip of deciding what that is, I'm not going to speculate about what might end up in that plan, but it's not a big job, but it's a job, and we have to pay attention to it.
Mhm. Okay.
And so by way of what I forgot to send you, you would have a day before the meeting, which wouldn't have helped much anyway, have seen this probably 15 pages of stuff that will be the housing element portion. I give it to you now just so that when we go through the whole document before the end of June, you don't get all this stuff at the last minute and say, what am I supposed to do with all this? You'll find it light reading. Take it in the bathroom.
Interesting.
Frank,
So-
is there a deadline on this?
We have to have our housing element adopted by June 30th.
June 30th. And this number 72, is that like a final number, or is it still up for debate?
No, well, we haven't debated it, and Fair Share has not tried to raise it for us. And it's ironic, but for all the towns that did debate the number and showed where developed parcels were included in vacant land, so they were wrong. So they proved that DCA was wrong about certain things, but then only those towns that did that had to absorb whatever units got lost by everybody else. So we had towns that proved that DCA was off by hundreds of acres. And at the end of proving that, they ended up with a higher number than they started with, because the reallocation, they still had a ton of vacant land anyway. So the reallocation put a lot of it on their plate. You guys are so insulated from all that. But you absorbed a big impact. I think at one point, many, decades ago, I calculated a $33 million direct impact that the local government absorbed as part of what came with the hills. And those were in the days where you were being told, the developer pays for everything. And it doesn't quite work that way, but in any event, some of the nicest people in your town came out of that. Some of them might even serve on the planning board someday. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. So I think for right now, that's the short answer to what do we have to do. You're gonna see a document that will show you exactly what the obligation is. There was a couple of months ago, there was a summary of what we have to do in terms of the way you meet the obligation, the different parts you have to do. But when I send the next one to you, it will say, here's what you have to do and here's how to do it. I don't think, but you'll probably get that during April. Yeah, you have to do it during April. So we have some more meetings to do, but I think that for now, for tonight's purposes, I think that's, unless you have questions, which I'm happy to answer.
Anybody else?
What's the definition of a family housing unit?
Family housing unit is a unit that's not restricted by age. And it's not a group home or in other words, there are single accommodation type units. But a one-bedroom unit, a single person unit is still not a non-family unit. So that counts.
It's not or is?
It is a family unit. It
A
is
one
not
bedroom.
but a bedroom in a group home
Okay.
is not part of a family unit. And I'll break it all down for you, and when you're done reading it all, your eyes, you have to be really comforted by the fact that there are towns, Hopewell Township, where I work, during the last round was in the process of absorbing 3,000 new units in a town that had 1,500 units before. And now we're being told there's another 500 units, if you multiply that by 5. And so they absorbed 25 years worth of obligation in 10 years. They did a bang up job. Some towns end up thinking they should have gone kicking and screaming. And you have the luxury of Judge Serpentelli saying you met your obligation. If it was up to him, we should have asked to have put that in order. Because you have way more than enough units, but they don't all fit in the right category. Counting beans, we can't count the right number of beans someplace over here. So relatively small obligation, but the mayor is like a hawk on us with this. He's smiling. I guess that's good.
Thanks, Frank.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay. What we got next? Oh, yes, our application here.
Well, we still have the state development, the state plan conformance.
Well, that's another, it's ironic how easy you have it compared to most municipalities, because the process that we went through to get AT&T put into a center and to renew our plan endorsement, which you had received years ago, because the state planning commission found you to be essentially consistent with the intent and purposes of the state plans and your policies to align with their policies. So we went back through that process, as you all probably remember, after the AT&T study to get the change that the mayor lobbied so that we could be eligible for Aspire and some other beneficial funding and financing opportunities that would make AT&T more attractive. Because we did all that, that template that I sent around, the first part of it, we've already, the guy that used to be our county planning director, who's now the state planning director, said, don't bother with the first part. You just did all that. Tell us in the second part, aspirationally, what is it you think either the state plan needs to do? What are the most important objectives that you have? We've gone through this process and shown the incredible alignment of all these things over a long period of time. And renewed that alignment and demonstrated it again and again. And you have 10-acre zoning upheld in part because you were well aligned with the state plan. So for towns that need to have the state plan map changed, this is the great opportunity without years of trying. For towns like you that are pretty happy with what the state plan shows right now, 2 centers and the rest of it's the country. I don't know that we're looking to make any changes. We decided a while ago, we're not going to opt into the Highlands for the planning area portion of town, which is everything south of Pottersville Road. So all the big regional planning policy decisions you made were soundly made, and it's not like we need to go remake them. If you would like me to, before the next planning board meeting, put together what I think are the answers to section 2, I'm happy to do that. I thought if we had a guided conversation about each of those questions and I took notes, I might do a little better job of reflecting what you're thinking. But I kind of know what you're thinking because we've been doing this together for a while. So I know we have an application here. I don't want to hold up. We could talk about this for a while if you'd like to, and whenever you'd like to. I don't know how you want to proceed with the application that's before us.
Well, Larry and Colin aren't part of the application. That's why we figured we would discuss this first.
Oh.
If.
No, that's fine. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking straight. That's why Larry was smiling, because he gets to leave as soon as I shut up.
Basically, yes.
I totally get it. All right.
So this was the cross acceptance that you guys all have in your packets and was sent to you. And you're saying that we just need to look at question 2.
Section 2. The
Section
first
2.
section that asks about all your planning documents and everything, we gave them all that already. They know all that, they agreed with all that. We don't have to show them why we are consistent. They just declared us consistent pretty recently. What we really want now is to see if there's anything that the plan doesn't do for us that they wish it did, or tells us to do differently than we want to do it. And that's where I'm saying that this historical alignment that you've had for 25 years, and the state plan hasn't changed the map at all. So the things they're doing are adding 2 additional policy areas, but nothing about what they were proposing before has changed really substantially. The theory of centers and environs, countryside being those open areas that are supposed to stay undeveloped or low development areas. Those are all still policies. They're not necessarily housing policies in New Jersey, but they're state planning policies, and they have been for a long time. So why do you?
Frank says, so after, I guess it's section 2. It goes through, you prepare it, gets blessed by the planning board. At that point, does it get submitted to the county?
So it
Because
goes
the
to the
county is
state.
our
Negotiating.
Negotiating, right.
Exactly, you got it. So at your next meeting, you would approve something that I would have written up for you, and that would go directly to the county so they can submit it in time. Your next meeting, I think, is the 3rd, isn't it?
If we want to have a meeting on the 3rd to just discuss this, our next application is April 10th. So again, that'll be up to the board. We can meet on the 3rd just to discuss this, or we can do both on the 10th, whatever the board decides.
Or the door number 3 could be, I write up what I think you want, I circulate it, and the mayor solicits comments. As long as you don't do something that resembles a meeting, because as long as the comments only go back from the members to one person, could be me, whatever. We don't have to have a meeting for me to know that you're happy with it. If you give me comments and changes, I'll do this in the next couple of days. Right now, I'm doing the speed dating job that we have with under the new affordable housing dispute resolution program.
I thought you were speed dating.
Retired-
Speed dating, right?
Retired,
I don't know if you want to announce that on.
seven retired judges are given 2-hour slots within which you bring in people who are not likely to make any decisive action in 2 hours anyway, because they almost diametrically are opposed, and we have to get settlements in 2 hours. So I have days in the next week where I have 2 days where I have 3 of those in a row, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m. And it's really exciting because when you see that much stuff happening that quickly, you're alive. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Anyway, you're lucky that you're not involved in that process. You have a very straightforward process. You have a plan that's 99% figured out. And the other 1% will do the best job everybody here is capable of.
So I'd propose for the cross acceptance with the state plan that, just as Frank said, that he runs through these, he answers or proposes answers to these questions, and then we discuss them at some meeting. What's our timeline for?
They want this by April 5th. That's why I thought April 3rd was going to get us there. But
Okay.
I really don't want to make you have an extra meeting for this.
Okay.
But
So if you just get, if you're good with,
if
you don't need a resolution from the planning board to say, go ahead and submit. You'll just take these comments and submit.
My representation will be accepted as the fact that you did. that.
Okay. So
Is that okay?
personally, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
will it be
Okay.
emailed to us for review?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you a chance to comment back. Let's just have, people only respond to
Up to
me,
you.
so don't reply all. And I'll take those comments and integrate them into one other. So I'll get you one draft that you can make comments on, another one that says, here it is. And that'll go to that'll be the thing that goes to that. And we'll do all that well before April 5th. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, all right. Everybody?
Yep.
All right. So our famous application here is back on for May 8th.
Well,
Yes.
we'll leave.
Yes.
We'll leave. So just from planning board comments, before you guys head
Oh,
to
yes,
Board of
go right
Adjustment,
ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
welcome back, Brian Wild.
It's nice to see everybody. We had a nice vacation.
It's been a while.
Good night all.
All right, guys.
I knew you looked familiar.
I gave you 6 black pens. I know you like
I
to,
do like this.
like to have your choice.
Okay, so as I was saying, our famous application here is now rescheduled for May 8th. Have we had any progress or is this still,
Haven't heard a thing.
haven't heard of it? Sounds wonderful. Okay. All right, we can go right ahead and start our BDE holding application. Go right ahead.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Michael Ogrodnik. I'm a partner at Savo, Shaw, Corsini, Warner, Gillespie, Ogrodnik, and Fisher in Somerville, New Jersey. I'm here on behalf of BDE Holdings LLC on an application for a floor variance ratio FAR variance and preliminary and final site plan approval with bulk variance relief and design waivers. We're here tonight to propose the conversion of an existing commercial building previously used as a bridal dress boutique shop into a mixed-use building with retail on the first floor and a 2-bedroom apartment on the second floor. The first floor is to be proposed as a high-end retail kitchen and bath design studio. As for bulk variances, variances will be required from the Township of Bedminster related to the maximum floor area ratio, where 15% is required, 23.9% was previously approved, 17.3% is existing, and 22% is proposed. The second bulk variance is a maximum lot coverage where 50% is required, 64.1% was previously approved, 63.1% is existing, and 63.9% is proposed. An additional variance under section 13-405.5E, where a minimum of 15-foot wide buffer along common property line with a residential use is proposed, and a 4.1 buffer exists for the existing garage to the rear of the property, and a buffer of 1.1 feet is proposed between the parking area and the west side property line. The fourth bulk variance is under section 13-405.6 for the proposed parking area or driveway within 6 feet of any property line. Again, the parking area is proposed to be 1.1 feet from the west property line. In addition to the bulk variances necessitated by this application, there are several pre-existing nonconformities. Of course, this is an historically undersized lot in this zone. As you know, it's 432 Main Street. There is a minimum lot area, pre-existing nonconformity where 0.5 acres is required, and we're at 0.296 to the deed line and 0.223 without the right of way. There's also a minimum lot frontage where 90 feet is required, and we're at 60.03 feet is existing, and of course proposed. We don't intend to change any of that. The minimum lot width, 90 feet is required, and 60 feet is existing and proposed. The side yard setback where 15 feet is required, and 5.9 feet is existing and proposed. And the front yard setback where 30 feet or the average of the 3 closest buildings on each side of the printable building, whichever is lesser, which is 22 feet is required, and 20 feet is existing and proposed. And the last pre-existing nonconformity is accessory building rear line minimum distance, where 10 feet is required and less than 10 feet is existing and proposed. Consistent with the municipal land use law, the state of New Jersey notice has been served. Affidavit of publication is certified mailing to abutting property owners has been submitted. Proofs of affidavit of publication have been submitted to the board staff, and the county, Somerset County, approved this application via letter dated January 8th, 2025. With me tonight, I have Hetty Coleman. She is one of the owners of BDE Holdings. She operates a business known as Coleman Blau Kitchens and Baths, previously in White House Station for many years. We also have, and she's just going to give a real brief description of what she does day to day. This is, this is a retail design studio. It's appointment only, things like that, hours of operation. Our civil engineer is Rudy Holtzman. He's our professional civil engineer who prepared the site plan for consideration tonight. Corey Fernandez is our architect. We're going to talk about the first floor layout for the design studio and the second floor 2-bedroom apartment where Hetty intends to reside. And then we have Edward Coling, our professional planner, to go over the proofs for the bulk variances that are necessitated by this application. This was an approved by zoning. It's a change of use application. So we do have a couple of witnesses. I'll try to move them as quickly as possible. But we do have these 4 witnesses. And unless there's any legal questions, I would ask that either individually or collectively our fact and lay witnesses be sworn in to provide testimony.
Okay,
If all the witnesses would raise their right hands, please. We'll swear them all in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
please state your name. Please state your names and addresses, at least a business address.
My name is Hetty Coleman. The business address is 432 Main Street in Bedminster. Will be 432 Main Street in Bedminster. And we're a very small boutique studio. I have one employee, more or less. She does my CAD drawings, my renderings. Otherwise, the client will deal with myself. Pretty much how our business is operated. I will do only recommendations. We work with a couple of contractors and architects. We do not advertise, we only open by appointment. And since I'm the only person who does who deals with the client, who helps with the design, who helps putting everything together, we cannot handle a huge amount of kitchen sales. So a client will call me and I will say, okay, let's make an appointment. I need to see the house. I need to see their lifestyle. I need to know how many cooks are in the kitchen. What do you want to do with your kitchen in the future? What's coming up the next 5-10 years? Will you move? Will you stay? What is your budget? And then I will get hired to to work with them. That's sometimes a longer process than one thinks because a lot of things come up. Especially we do renovations. We're involved with contractors, architects, and renovations. They can take from a month to a year, or if there's an addition involved, a new home that can take 2-3 years, especially shore houses. So it's a long-term process. And we do a lot of our work is really done on site with the client. It's much easier to be in their kitchen and to say, okay, this is 3 foot, your new range will be 36 inches, not 30 inches or 48 inches. And it's also easier to show them, we need 42 inches between the island and your sink wall and so forth and so on. Then being in the studio where the setup is totally different setup. It's just cabinets for show, the quality, the colors, the door styles, the wood species and so forth and so on. So I also go out on deliveries to make certain when the cabinets get delivered that everything is there. I go out on the first or 2 stays of installation to make sure the installer understands exactly what he has to do. And that's pretty much what we do. So we don't have a lot of foot traffic, maybe 3-5 clients a week max. It's also very expensive to do a kitchen. We don't sell imports. We sell everything made in Pennsylvania. So the kitchen is custom and more expensive. So with that said, we don't have a broad spectrum clientele. And we help the customer, if needed, to select the appliances. We go to the appliance store, meet them there. We go to the plumbing fixture store, we meet them there. They will buy it direct on their own. We offer them our discount. So it's, helps them to get a better price. And that's pretty much how we operate. So it's a very small operation. It's not like a Home Depot or Lowe's or, where you have.
And could you just speak to a couple of issues that were raised in the professional review memos? Is there storage of any
Yeah.
types of cabinets or anything like that on site?
So we will have displays installed, so the customer can open doors, can see the interior of cabinets, the colors, the species and so forth and so on. There is no way to get a kitchen delivered into a location where we are. The kitchen gets picked up at the factory, delivered to the job site, gets unloaded, and we bring it into the kitchen. It's also a matter of damage. As more as we handle that kitchen cabinet, as more damage we can create. So that's why I have always decided I go directly from the factory to job site. If we have to store, we have the storage facility in Pennsylvania, which has to be climate controlled. So then they pick up from factory, go to the storage. The cabinets stay there until the contractor or architect calls and says we need the cabinets in a week, and then they get delivered to the job site. So we get door samples delivered, we get little color swatches delivered, we get literature delivered, but we do not get cabinets or anything big delivered. I couldn't handle it personally anyway, so.
And in the rear of the site, there's an pre-existing building that's used as a garage, and would that be used for storage or would that be used for parking?
That's for parking too. That was in the planning for as parking.
I have no further questions for the witness.
You say you have a place in White House? Is
We
that
had
what
a
it-
place, we sold it.
Oh, you sold it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any questions for?
Will you also be living upstairs? I guess this will be.
I plan to, but yeah, if, I would like, that's what I had in White House too. It's very convenient
Okay.
to walk downstairs and work.
Sure. So you're
Sure.
anticipating
I
all
love
goes
it.
well, you would be the tenant upstairs.
Yes, yes.
Any other question? Frank?
Just to clarify Tim's question, Hattie was nice enough to take me, when I went for my site inspection, she took me through the property, so I saw the inside. She has the arrangement where there is no interior break between the first floor showroom and walking up the stairs to her apartment. So you would think you're just in one essentially continuous place, even though there would be another way out from the top floor in the back as part of this addition that she's trying to do. You would walk in and think you would never have the sense that you're in a place with an apartment upstairs. You just see a stairway that goes up wide open into the rest of the space. It's relatively incoherent. I think you get what I'm trying to say. Ordinarily, you would have outside entrances to a separate second floor, and you would not walk through the front door and into a separate space in order to get into your apartment. So when you walk into this front door, straight ahead of you is a set of stairs that will take you up to her apartment, and the rest of the first floor is the showroom and the other.
Because I went by too, there's two front doors though.
Yeah, one door, you can go into the showroom separate,
Okay,
and then you can go into the apartment. There are two doors.
oh, yeah.
But they're connected inside.
There's a door between.
We do have a firewall in between.
Okay.
And the fire rated ceiling and all that.
Okay, board, any other questions?
I have a question for Paul.
Okay.
Paul, a couple years ago, refresh my memory, maybe I'm incorrect. Did we not increase the FAR on VN zone? To 17 or 17.5?
I don't recall. I don't
We
know.
went through some changes in FARs in different places.
I don't remember.
I
We
don't,
changed their calculations if it was.
yeah, I don't remember. Frank, do you recall it?
I really don't. I apologize.
So I thought we changed up to 17. Is there a way to check that?
Sure. I check it right now.
We did all that work, all the red lines and all that, we went back and forth.
Yeah, that was for lot coverage. I know we
It
did,
might-
we
it
did,
might
we
be.
did a long exercise of
Right.
lot coverage.
It might be that, maybe, I just wanted to double check.
Well,
Yeah, the chart like this,
that was the ad nauseum project. Paul kept coming
that
back.
was the fine engineering analysis.
No, I'm not talking about that one. That's a different thing. This
Okay.
is the work, we had a committee, myself and Kathy. And Doug Stevenson, I think even.
I'll look that up if they want to.
Yeah, okay. Why don't you continue and we'll research it.
And if there's no other further questions for our fact witness and our applicant,
We'll open it up to the public
Yeah.
and we'll see, Janine, if there's anybody.
Yes, so again, we just really have, Allison, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself or raise your hand. Or you can wait to hear the testimony from the, other witnesses.
I'm just confused about the address. Can you just tell me where it is relative to other structures on Main Street?
432 Main Street.
I'm trying to figure out where 432 is. I'm 395. Iris 405 at the pharmacy. So it's further down, closer to the firehouse. Is that it?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
17%.
17%.
Got a good memory.
Good memory. Good, Lou.
We should change your calculations to your benefit a little bit.
A little bit. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Um,
Anyone else from the public? Okay, I guess we can close it to the public and we can move on with our next witness.
So our next witness is our professional civil engineer, Rudy Holtzman. We do have a site plan set that's already been previously submitted to the board. I don't think we need to mark it as an exhibit. It's the same exact drawings that were previously submitted.
Okay.
So. You can sit down. You can sit down.
Do you have it electronically?
We do if you need it.
We do, because the
Yeah.
attorney's not gonna be able to see the board.
Okay.
Sorry, we don't do the boards anymore. That's why I asked for everything
Yep,
electronically.
we have it.
Great. And I also need, your business address and the spelling of your last name, please, for the being sworn in. It kind of got halfway and then we stopped.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you.
I believe so.
Is there age still on, Janine? No, there is not. You just have to log on to the website. I mean,
Go to the link for the Zoom.
yes.
You want to give us your name and, excuse me?
While we set up, we can just go over qualifications
Yes,
as a
please.
professional.
His name, address, please.
My name's Rudolph Holzman. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey. I have about over 20 years' experience in preparing site plans, and I've testified in front of numerous boards in the state of New Jersey, including City of Summit and Township of Bernards.
Madam Chair, we would ask that he be accepted as a professional engineer in the state of New Jersey.
Any other questions, Tom?
Yeah, well, his qualifications are accepted, but if Rudy would spell his last name, that would be helpful.
Holzmann.
Thank you, Rudy, and please proceed.
Just gonna go through, kind of maybe repeating some of the dimensions, bulk standards that are regulated, and then get into more about the site. Subject property known as 432 Main Street, block 35, lot 9, located in DN Village neighborhood zone. Minimum lot areas 0.5 acres, and existing undersized lot at 0.223 acres. It's a little under half an acre. We're a little under 50% undersized. Minimum lot width and frontage are 90 feet. We are an existing non-conforming as far as width and frontage at 60.03 feet. Minimum side yards 15 feet. We are existing non-conforming side yard at 5.9 feet. Minimum front yard is 30 feet. What we added with the three closest buildings are either side of the principal building, which we calculated to be 22 feet. So we are an existing non-conforming front yard at 20 feet for that reason. Minimum rear yard is 35 feet. We comply with that at 80.1 feet. And those were all for principal building. And as far as minimum accessory setbacks, minimum accessory sideline setback is 10 feet. The existing detached garage complies at 13.99 feet. The minimum rear line setback for accessory is 10 feet, and we're not conforming at 7.93 feet. So, as mentioned, previous testimony by the applicant, she owns and runs a kitchen cabinet renovation business at existing structure, proposing to renovate second floor to a two-bedroom residence. Right now, the existing wood deck is in the process of being removed that you see in the plan. And the new deck stairs and ADA access will be installed. So that's the extent of the site work really near the building to provide that ADA access. Existing parking lot, it's not striped, but will be striped to show the 8 spaces that we calculated, one of which is the ADA compliant. And as far as history of the project, history of the site and previous variances, similar projects before the board in 2002 twice. And there were 2 resolutions granting variances. First one, per resolution of approval dated June 19th, 2002, the following variances were granted. Floor area ratio not to exceed 23.9%. Lot coverage not to exceed 64.1%. Lot frontage 60.1 feet. Front yard setback of 19.8 feet. Right side yard setback of 5.5 feet. In addition, in that resolution, rear yard setback 4.1 feet, buffers of residential use of 1.1 and 4.1 feet, and a driveway setback of 1.1 feet. And then continuing later that year, similar project resolution approval dated December 18th, 2002. The following variances were granted: driveway width of 12 feet, variance from providing curbing on the entire property, only along the eastern roof side of the rear building. There's a lighting intensity variance with shoebox fixtures to be utilized. There's a variance granted for the absence of it delineated specific loading zone. We talked a little bit about zoning and maybe talk about that more. And then for the width of the 2 parking stalls in the garage to be only 8.5 feet. So that summarizes what previous resolutions granted as far as variances. The current project proposes no changes to the setbacks or building height. Floor area calculations are updated, however, as part of the building improvements. So the new FAR, and that's one of the reasons we're here, is 23.3%. And the maximum permitted, we had used the 15% number, but I know the 17% number was just mentioned. I think we're still in the same situation as far as the variance condition. Because the existing FAR right now is 18.5%. So again, the FAR approved in 2002 was 23.9%. And then going over to coverage, lot coverage, existing 63.1%, proposed lot coverage 63.9%, and the lot coverage approved in 2002 was 64.1%. So we are increasing the coverage from the existing condition, but we're staying underneath the approved lot coverage from 2002, that variance that was granted. All right, so for this project, I could summarize the variances required. 15-foot buffer along the common property line, and parking area less than 6 feet from the property line are the variances along with the lot coverage, and the use variance will be discussed by the planner. Then design waivers. Existing driveway width less than 24 feet width, the curbing throughout the parking lot, the freestanding lights, not providing freestanding lights, the illumination levels in accordance with the ordinance. And 2 more design waivers, delineated loading space and the parking stalls that measure less than 9 feet in the garage. So again, the parking, to summarize, parking 8 existing, and 7 are required. And the 8 existing includes the 1 ADA space and the 2 spaces in the garage as far as quantifying spaces. We received a review letter from Boswell Engineering, and as mentioned, the lot coverage variance is required because the coverage is increasing from the previously approved variance. And then there's a lighting. I'm not sure if we have a lighting consultant here. We've engaged a lighting consultant to design the lighting for the site and measure intensities.
What I'm looking for is for the lighting that's proposed to be shown on your plan. And in that context, I looked at the lighting plan. There's a lot of lights there. Given the type of use, and it's going to be a single residence use who can control the lights. I think first off, you can probably get rid of at least 1, if not 2 of the building mounted lights on the garage. And then the lights will, I assume, be controlled by the occupant of the building. So they don't have to be on from dusk till dawn like you would in a multifamily residential project.
Certainly, we would certainly accept that as a condition to your approval. We had a meeting on this. We can do timers. We can do, automatic
it would be
sensors.
Timers in general, the ordinance says an hour after the business closes is when they
Okay.
would go out, which for the most part will be on for a couple of months of the year, maybe.
That's fine. Does the board any questions for civil engineer?
Go ahead,
Two
Doug.
questions. Specifically, you are increasing the lot coverage, and what changes are being made to increase the lot coverage? Is it the back porch or?
I think they're about to get the exhibit up on the screen.
Okay,
So if he can share, then you'll actually might be able to see where this is going to be happening.
the next question I have is, in your floor area ratio calculation, are you adding in the second floor, or you did not add in the second floor?
I would confirm with the architect that typically that, floor area ratio would include the second floor. Because
My understanding is if residential doesn't go into this.
But
floor
in
area.
the mixed use context, it would.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, question, so there was an ordinance, you did receive approval back in 2002, because it looks like an old picture and this picture, there was work done on the home, I guess, since the 2002 approval, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks much
There was zoning approval,
You received approval and you did a lot of the work. Yeah.
but not the mixed use approval.
But not the mixed use. So Tom, the variance here tonight is for a use variance, or is it for the lot coverage?
It is,
It's a D variance for floor area ratio and a bunch of C variances as described. And they're different than the prior variances. So they need, and they're changing the use, so they need to address and get relief for this particular application to modify the prior approvals. But prior approvals might be viewed by the board as helping their case.
Yeah, because if they're looking for a floor area variance, they had received one and they haven't changed it really much since the last time. I mean, they're not.
Well,
expanding.
yeah, I want to hear their architect explain what they are changing, because they are they are changing something. And also on the impervious coverage, they're changing something.
So Rudy, can you expand the image that's on the screen there and show where the changes to the ground are?
Yeah, the ground changes. Ground changes involve the realignment of the stairs, the deck, and the parking to accommodate the ADA along with the platform lift. So they're really those elements right behind the building. Just no parking lot or nothing in the front that's causing that change to happen as far as coverage. So it's really those limited items right behind the building.
So to confirm, you're saying it's the parking spot, the handicap parking spot, the addition of that? Okay.
If you look at it closely, I mean, you had 3 parking spaces there before, and you're turning it into 2 with the handicapped and the aisle, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a realignment there, but there's not too much significant changes to the parking lot itself. And there's some removal of coverage too. You can see the existing paver walk to be removed. So there's an attempt to balance it out and still maintain the function that's required for access and parking.
The increase is only 72 square feet. So
Yeah,
it's nominal.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're adding a lift, right? And are you expanding the existing, or changing the shape of the existing back porch to accommodate the lift?
Yeah, the stairway, yes, and the deck is to be removed and replaced.
Okay.
As far as the deck expanding, it's the same size.
I guess why it's hard for us to grasp this, we don't really see a lot of existing documentation here.
Yeah,
Other
It's
than-
quantified, yeah, it helps
That's,
to
I think,
look, helps
the
look
issue.
at the charts for the quantification, but, in the background on this particular sheet, some of the items are dashed, for example, the existing pit or walk through, see what was being removed, and really that's the only item besides the deck, which is being moved and replaced, that's in the background.
so if I were to summarize, the additional lot coverage is to accommodate the handicap access. Is that correct statement?
ADA lift, a little bit of driveway pavement and building addition. So it's quantified in the lot coverage. It's not only the ADA lift. I don't want to say that.
All right, I just wanted to kind of clarify. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for the engineer?
So I do have another question, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead.
But two of your calculated parking spaces are the garage, it's a 2-car garage. Would those be dedicated for the apartment?
As far as I know, I think we'll get into that a little more with the planning testimony, but as far as I know, that's an option.
Yes.
I think the property owner would like her car in the garage. That's why she's saying yes from the
Right.
third row.
Right.
It's just that customers do the craziest things and they'll park in the craziest places, so. Maybe not the garage is the best place for a customer arriving on the property to do. I just want to kind of clarify that because we don't want anyone banging into the sidewall of the garage.
Agreed.
Given the nature of what we're hearing about by appointment, unless she has a whole family showing up in separate cars, she's probably got more than enough parking
Right.
spaces without the garage.
Plus the 1 employee, so it makes sense.
Right. And what's the total? You had 8, did you say? 8 parking spaces?
Correct. Oh, yeah, basic.
7 required, 8 provided.
Mm-hmm, okay. Okay. Do you have anything further?
That summarizes my.
Okay, anything from the board? No, no. Okay, we'll open it up again to the public.
We no longer have any public.
No public, okay. That was quick. That solved that problem. Okay, no public. I will close it to the public, and I guess we could go with our next witness.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next witness is Corey Fernandez, our architect and
Okay.
part-time IT guy for this application. My apologies.
It's his age.
Yeah.
They're all part-time, like people with that.
Thanks for setting that up.
Corey, please spell your last name and give us a business address.
Fernandez, Fernandez. Business address is 50 Division Street, Suite 501, Somerville, New Jersey.
Thank you. And we need some qualifications for Corey because I don't think he's testified before us before.
No, I have not. I'll be happy to do that. So I am a licensed architect. My license is in good standing. I graduated here in New Jersey at NJIT in 2013. I am the owner of the practice Total Architecture, and myself, along with the firm, have appeared before boards throughout New Jersey, neighboring communities to here, Raritan, Warren, Somerville, and also licensed in New York and South Carolina.
Madam Chair, we would ask that he be accepted as an expert in the field of architecture.
I believe so,
Yeah,
yes.
Yes, he will. Thank you.
So I'll go over the building plans and hopefully clarify some of the questions I think that were being asked before. I've been working with Hetty, I think, for over a year now. Then there's some clarification I think it will help the board understand the project. So the first floor kitchen retail is approved for construction. It didn't require any variances. It was in line with the zoning code, and she's currently undergoing construction to fit out that space. The reason we're here is for the second floor apartment. And part of that apartment is an addition to make the apartment, the space up there larger. So if you guys can follow my pointer here. So this line right here is the existing back of the building on the second floor. And it's directly over the retail selection room, which is existing on the first floor. So the project is proposing to add a second story addition over this retail space that extends out towards the rear yard. As none of that would add any coverage. What's adding the coverage is a new covered stair, which is being placed here in this corner of the building, which is existing. So this covered stair is covering existing pervious coverage. So I hope that clarifies. So I'll just zoom in here. So you'll see that the first floor plan, all the lines that are gray basically mean it's existing in place. And then all the lines that are dark and filled in is new construction proposed as part of this site plan review. The deck you'll see is also dark. The deck is being proposed to be finalized under this site plan review, but the deck has already been approved by zoning and can be constructed now as part of the project that she's currently fitting out. So I'll take you through the second floor here and the goal of the project. The goal of the project is that Hetty would like to owner occupy the space. And in order to do that, we're turning it into a 2-bedroom apartment. There is an existing stair at the lower left-hand side here, which comes up into the apartment from the first floor, which we can see here. So you would enter a door, go up the stair to the apartment, and then we're proposing a secondary stair to leave the rear of the apartment. And that would be more accessible for Hetty, since she'll most likely be parking in the back in the garage. Instead of having to walk around the whole building, she would have the stair to get up. It's a modest apartment. I think it's around 1,130 square feet total. A smaller kitchen and dining area towards the front of the home, the bedrooms towards the back of the home, and a living space in between. There's an existing walk-up attic, which isn't undergoing any alterations as part of the proposed project. So we're looking at an existing roof plan on the left. So everything from this line down is existing. And then everything from this line up is proposed. So looking down on the roof, that would be the new, shingled roof we're looking at. And then to the right is a 3D view of the back. So this shows the basically everything here up is the addition, the proposed addition. Hetty was adamant that the back of the house look as attractive as the front of the house. So we took a lot of time to bring some elements into design that are mimic some of the details on the front of the home, and also some other details found throughout the township. And the deck is there for both, will be used to access Hetty for residential, and also people that park in the back for the commercial aspect will also use the deck. There, I'm showing the ADA lift that's required as part of the accessibility for the building. And these are the elevations. The front of the home, nothing's changing. The back of the home, we can see the new stairwell, and then this would be the addition. This side of the home, we're looking at the stairwell here, 2 windows, and this side of the home, we're not really seeing, or the building rather, any of the alterations. I'm sorry, this corner right here would be the addition. So that concludes my testimony. If anyone has any questions.
How much on the second floor, the additional, how much additional square footage is that? Is that about?
432 square feet.
32. Okay, so that still only brings it up to 23.9 floor area ratio?
23.
So it was 23.3?
Okay, so that was the previous approved floor area ratio. So the last owner who came here and got approved for that amount never constructed any of the work that they were approved for.
Gotcha.
Yes.
All right.
And at that time, things were like different parts of the building than garages that were included in that number.
Gotcha.
The definitions have changed.
Then the last one is, how do you get into bath one?
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my comments.
Forgot the door.
You forgot the door.
There might be an architect on the board.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We're missing the door, but yeah.
Does that go from bedroom one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. From bedroom one.
Fine for the window.
Wait, maybe somebody really likes being in the back.
And what is the total square footage of the apartment in total?
1,132, including the covered stair.
And then the attic above is unfinished completely, right?
Yes.
Okay. Another question I had that I have too is bedroom 2 meant to be like an ensuite? Because you got a lot of doors going on there, and there's no closet directly off of the bedroom. Because I see you have sort of like a Jack and Jill setup though, so that you can get into the bathroom from the living room.
Yeah, the idea here is that bath number 2 would also be the public bathroom for any guest in the house as well. But
Yeah.
for day in and day out use, or a guest living in the house, they would have quicker access to it.
It might make sense just to have the corridor, the door right into the bathroom from the corridor, put the closet in the bedroom. And not have the door from the living room. I'm just thinking just to clean it up a little bit, not have so many doors.
You're talking to an architect over by
Yeah, right.
I was just looking at it, it seemed kind of like the layout seemed to, you know,
Yeah, Hetty is a designer as well, went through this layout a few times and
for you.
I think this is the one that she liked.
Yeah, just some suggestions. Yeah. So, but you probably will need to have a closet off of that bedroom unless that's considered an ensuite, because I know that to call it a bedroom.
That closet, could that closet, have the door into the bedroom there?
Right, right off the bedroom,
Off the-
unless it's like trying to do an ensuite type of thing. I don't know.
Why don't you describe, when you say an ensuite, I'm not sure if everybody.
Well,
knows.
like, is it a closet, is the bathroom, is it, sometimes like, is that closet dedicated for that bedroom, or is it like a central closet, because I know to be called a bedroom, you have to have a closet. Right.
And if you think when you walk through that door that you're saying is unnecessary,
Mhm.
you're now in that bedroom number 2 suite.
Mhm.
So the closet is in the suite.
Yeah,
That's what you meant by.
well, that would
Put
be,
it into the suite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The closing that door means once you're in there, that's the bathroom and the closet for that bedroom.
yeah, right.
So I think that's coherent. Anyway.
it's just something you'll probably have to explain, for when you file for a permit, that's all. To figure all that out. But heads up on that. So.
Is this building currently vacant?
It's currently under construction.
So it's unoccupied. How long has it been unoccupied? I didn't hear that. I couldn't.
We can't hear. We're-
So I believe it's somewhere between the 5 and 6 years.
Yeah.
Hetty purchased that as a foreclosure.
Sure.
Anything else from the board?
The materials that will be used will be similar to what's currently on the building. Can you just go over what materials are? Is it vinyl, hardy?
It's wood clapboard.
Oh, it is wood clad?
Yes,
And you're gonna continue with the same?
yes, yes.
Did you have to go in front of the historic commission?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, she
Okay.
did.
Approval.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
is a document in the folder.
Yeah.
Thought so. Any comments? I didn't see that document, actually.
Yeah, we're supposed to get that document.
Yeah, I know.
It's all on the website. I'm sorry, so
Oh.
that's what I tried to tell you guys is that I send you the new document, everything else is on the website, every site plan, every HPC, all those things listed on your agenda that are in green are on the website, and all you have to do is click on it and.
You can probably do that from, because you can get to it from the township website.
You can also get to it from the township HPC, yeah.
But they blessed everything, there was nothing.
Was there
No?
any comments, any specific comments from the board? Did you see? I didn't see that.
Probably just aesthetic content.
I would imagine.
Yeah. When did you guys go to the HPC? How long ago?
Hetty's been there many times.
It's been a
So
few
when was
times.
the last time?
Okay.
The house is here.
When's the last time you saw the Historic Preservation Committee?
That's on the actual.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was towards the fall, I believe. Yeah. But also for the lift. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, also, signage. I'm assuming she'll be putting sign out. Had she gone to the sign, to the historic commission for sign approval? This, so you will be probably need to do that because this is an historic district.
Yeah.
And all signage has to be approved by the historic, committee as well for signage.
I'm sorry, so yes, it was May 9th. Paint house body, the proposed in blue, I can pass this around if you'd like to see. They have the colors listed. The HPC approved the application as presented with the colors, siding, capital white trim, excellent color selections. So if you'd like to see.
How about landscaping? I know Paul mentioned something about a landscaping plan
Right.
on his letter. That's something you'll go over or?
We did prepare an exhibit. Let me just.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay.
You're not really doing, other than painting, you're not really doing much else to the front of the building.
Correct.
For that being used. I mean, the whole new facade is in the back facing the lawn. Is this existing or something you proposed?
These were planted.
Oh.
They're not quite as big as these illustrations.
Okay.
But
Just for the record, for Tom's help, I'm gonna say we're gonna call this Exhibit A1 and put the date on it. It consists of 4 different pages, and if you can describe what they are.
Sure, it's just it's a landscape design identifying the species and location for the proposed landscaping on the facades. Specifically the color spires, indigo girl, salvia, boxwood, Green Mountain boxwood, the blue princess holly, and the limelight panicle hydrangeas that have been planted.
Yeah, so, okay.
And the lighting, I know we talked about it a little bit, but is it gonna require commercial lighting in the back and a down lighting or?
It'll be shielded lighting. And what my recommendation, there was a lighting plan submitted and it was a little overdone. And my suggestion was to take the lights off of the garage and not install those because there'll be plenty of light in the parking lot, given the low use and the fact that this isn't gonna be used much at night.
Yeah, we'll just update our plan and submit it to your engineer just for final approval as part of the resolution. Okay.
Okay. Anyone more from the board? Any more questions? No? Okay, I think we can open it up to the public. We have any public come back? No?
No problem.
No. All right,
Our final witness is Edward
we'll
Colling.
close it to
Oh.
the public. Yeah, that's okay. All right. Yes.
We have Edward Colling. He's a professional planner in the state of New Jersey. I would ask that he gives a little bit of his educational experience, his active licensure, as well as boards that he's appeared before.
Can we just have the spelling of your last name first and the business address, please?
Name and address.
Is this on? No, okay.
Name and
The, my name, first name is Edward, last name is Colling, that's Kolling. Graduated from Rutgers in 1974, so it's a couple of years ago. I have been active in the field of planning since that time. I've been licensed since 1983. Also certified as a planner by the American Institute of Certified Planners since that time. In the Wayback Machine, I was director of planning in Jersey City during the 1980s. In the 1990s, I was the director of the Economic Development Division or Department in the city of Elizabeth. I was a principal in the firm of Fellows Reed and Associates in Toms River for a number of years. More recently, in the firm of Dresner Robin in Jersey City. I'm now mostly retired and do some practice on my own. My address is 123 Oak Hill Avenue in Long Branch, New Jersey. And I've appeared before boards throughout the state of New Jersey.
I would enthusiastically recommend that you
Yeah.
accept.
You apparently know this gentleman.
His reputation precedes him, and yes. thank you.
Okay, so what struck me is that this project seems to be exactly what the town is looking for in the VN zone. It's a use of an existing structure that's been there for many years, an historic looking structure. It has both uses that are being proposed are permitted, and the mixture of uses is permitted, provided there's only one dwelling unit. As the board has discussed, this was the subject of a variance application and approval a number of years ago, 2002. resulting in I believe a bridal shop occupying the site. At the time, the addition that increased the floor area was going to be on the back and would have covered where the deck had been before, and is now proposed again. It was demolished because of some structural issues, my understanding is, and so now it's being reconstructed. The other thing that contributed to the floor area from my review of the plan was that the front porch was going to be enclosed. I assume was going to be some kind of display area, and that wasn't done. And I think that was a good thing that it wasn't done, because I think that would have been disruptive to the architectural character of the building. So we are here not for a technical use variance, as in we're requesting a non-permitted use. It's a D4 for the floor area ratio. Previously, what was approved was 23.9%, and that was because, again, the building being extended, the footprint being increased in the back. That was not constructed. And then also for the covering the porch, which would have added to the floor area in my opinion. The other thing that this application is changing somewhat is the coverage, and the previous coverage. Well, you know, I'll get to that later. I think it's 63.9% was what was. Previous application was 64.1%. We're requesting slightly less, 63.9. And I'll discuss why that occurred. But I think the engineer covered it for the most part. When I looked at the Google Earth photos and street views and things like that, those photographs of there were somewhat older than what you've seen today, what you see there now. And of course, that the building seemed to have declined, was in pretty bad shape. And I think what the applicant is doing really is very consistent with what your master plan is recommending. She's been to the historic commission. She's using the right colors, renovating the porch. The porch will be maintained. That's consistent with the character of the street as far as I could see, with many of the buildings do have the porches. So I think everything that she's doing is really very consistent with the intent and purpose of the zone plan and of the master plan. So this application does not envision extending the footprint of the building. It'd be a very slight increase in the footprint, and that's for the stairway that provides the second means of egress from the building. That's going to, I think, assist in meeting fire codes and things of that nature. So it really does improve the safety of the occupancy for that second floor. So I think that's a positive aspect of what's being proposed. The rear deck has been demolished and is being reconstructed to code. The footings are in, and they're continuing to do that. As the architect mentioned, that's been approved by construction. So that's all I think is also consistent. It makes the buildings safer, improves accessibility, which is also being primarily assisted by the lift that's being installed. So I think that also is a very positive aspect of this application, is improving the handicapped accessibility. So what ends up happening is that the resulting floor area ratio is 22% now versus the 23.9%. The reason why it's increasing over the proposed is partly because of the lift, which again is a positive aspect, partly because of the covered stairway, which is also, I think, a positive aspect because of improving safety. There's other things that were rearranged on the site, removal of some hard surface that the engineer referred to, and also some cleaning up, more or less, I would say, of the parking area to make sure that everything meets the width for the parking spaces. Speaking of which, 7 are required, 8 are proposed, and the 2 in the garage will be used, from my conversations with the applicant, will be used by the residential unit. 1.5 are required by the RSIS, and 2 are proposed. So We'd round up anyway, so that's covered. And the commercial would require 5, so the total would be 7, and we're proposing 8. I'm sure more than enough, given the way this facility will operate, as Hetty has mentioned. In terms of the that D4 variance, the proofs really revolve around, can the site accommodate the additional coverage without substantial detriment to the zone plan and the intent and purpose of the master plan, or to the general welfare of the public good. And I think certainly by looking at how this is being arranged, footprint is not being expanded. It's all going to be within the footprint on the second floor. It's lesser than what it was previously approved. It occurs in the rear of the building. It doesn't impact at all the appearance of the building. In fact, this design, I think, is a much better approach to design than the previous one. So you take all those things into account, I think that we've met the proof for the granting of the D4 variance, in that the site can accommodate the additional coverage without any substantial detriment. And in fact, this project in general, I think, really advances the recommendations, the intent and purpose of the zone plan and the master plan. If we go to the coverage, the previous variance was 64.1%. The new application is slightly less, 0.2% at 63.9. It is a slight increase over the current coverage of 63.1. As I pointed out, this extra coverage is partly because of the second means of egress to the second floor, partly because of the deck being redesigned to accommodate the lift, partly because of the rearrangement of some of the parking to accommodate the handicap space. So I think when you take all that into account, the benefits of this variance really outweigh any detriment. And the project in general certainly has the benefits in terms of its being consistent with the intent and purpose of the zone plan. You have the subparagraph 2A talks about promoting the public health, safety, and general welfare. I think providing the handicapped accessibility certainly covers that. 2B talks about securing better safety relative to providing a second means of egress from the second floor. So I think we promote that purpose. So when you look at the purposes of zoning, the intent and purpose of the zone plan and the master plan, I think we promote all of that, and the detriments are negligible, if any. So the C2 criteria would certainly apply in this case. The other previously granted bulk variances or pre-existing non-conforming conditions, they are not being worsened. They were previously granted. The building obviously didn't change, didn't get any bigger or smaller. The lot doesn't change. I think everything is the same as it was. And if anything, as I've been pointing out, this particular project, I think, improves the conditions in terms of appearance. So we're promoting subparagraph 2I, including securing safety in terms of the secondary means of egress, including and also including the public accessibility. So all of those other bulk variances that have really been previously approved and have not been exacerbated in any way by this application, I think can be continued and approved again because of the C2 criteria, the benefits of this project, but also in terms of the hardship, because they're all pre-existing conditions, and you wouldn't want to do anything to really change this building or the site, because I think it is well suited for what it's been doing, and it's well it fits well within the context of the VN zone. And that pretty much summarizes my testimony.
Very nice. Anybody? Any board? Any questions? No, no. Okay, we'll again open it up to the public. No public, huh?
Still no public.
Still no public. Nobody's come back. Okay, yes, Frank.
I'd like to just say that I find the testimony we just heard compelling. I agree that the property was allowed to fall into disrepair. having looked closely at it, it's being meticulously put back in good condition.
Mhm.
And it is a combination of uses that we intend there. So the fact that this lot's thinner than a couple of lots next to it, with houses similar size, means that things on this lot are gonna have those kind of numbers because the lot size, but I think it's skillfully done. I think it's certainly attractive. I wish more people would actually see the back of the building. It's a pretty nice looking rear of the building. So I agree with everything we just heard.
I think it's a very nice project, very nice. So if you have anything else. if you
That
wanna sum
concludes our
up?
testimony.
Okay.
Appreciate all your volunteer time and
Oh, you're more than
we would
welcome.
ask that the board look favorably upon this application.
Okay, any board have any comments they can make?
I would just say, I think it's an improvement over the previous approvals. And I would welcome Mrs. Coleman or business to Bedminster. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank
Yep,
you.
I think it's a very nice project. Okay.
The board
Tom?
is ready. If the board is ready, you could consider a motion to approve the D variances, the C variances, the site plan as discussed this evening for the with the conditions of Paul and Frank's reports and the condition discussed tonight of the compliance with the landscape plan and the submission of the lighting plan for review and approval by the board engineer. This approval will be effective this evening, so the applicant is authorized to proceed, continue proceeding effective immediately, provided all other requirements are met. Is there such a motion?
Motion approved.
I'll second.
Hey, Janine.
Mr. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Rodelius?
Aye.
Mr. DeGiovanni?
Aye.
Mr. Wild?
Aye.
Chairwoman Gotcha.
Hi,
Thank you for your time. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
congratulations and good luck. Very nice.
Good luck.
And like,
Welcome. Good job.
So here is. Okay, if there's any comments from the Board of Adjustment? Comments? No? And we need
Motion.
a motion.
Really good.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
unless something comes up, I don't believe we'll have an April 3rd meeting since Frank is going to send you all. Hopefully, he will blind copy you so that you will all just be responding to Frank, no one else. He'll then send us over what the results of that were, and hopefully we'll be able to approve that so that it takes place before the April 5th deadline. Is that correct?
I'd put a deadline for me to get you the first version of that by a week from today. And the second version of that for the end of the month, so. if
That means
for any reason
Tuesday
that
or
you-
Wednesday, I start bothering you.
Yeah. And I volunteered for that, so that's good, thank you.
For that to get to me by Thursday, and then you guys will give your comments, and then we'll have that done, hopefully, the week before. So
Without having to worry about the meeting.
everybody's okay that not meeting on April 3rd, and we will have our application on April 10th.
Yep, one less meeting. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Any other projects coming down the pipe?
We have another variance application that just came in. Can you remember what it's for? I haven't opened it up yet.
we have two. So we're gonna hear American Water next week.
It's
Um,
the
I'm
Exxon
sorry,
wants to put in charging stations.
that one hasn't come yet. We have the homeowner at 120 Pottersville Road that has a single family. They want to do an addition and a detached garage. And then the one Exxon, the 30 Washington Valley, I believe that's the one across from.
That's the charging stations, right? That's the one you gave me tonight.
Yes, the C variance, but mainly that's the charging stations are part of it, but it's also because the interior.
Yeah, they built a convenience store.
And they never came, it's been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
But they added on all of the,
They can make it
Our
bigger.
zoning officer openly and wantonly allowed that to continue?
they never came to this,
I'm
they,
kidding.
That's the
yeah,
gas
yeah.
station across from.
so they never came to anybody and put in all the refrigeration unit, you know, we all used to go in and maybe there was some gum and, you know, you could, tobacco products. Now there's all sorts of refrigeration and it's so,
They expanded it.
So it's
So-
way more than charging units.
it is
Yes.
way more than charging. And those two, we will, when Paul tells us they are ready to go, and then. Yes, I gave that one to you. And then, I'll give you another, and then, of course, we have Alfieri, which is supposed to be May 8th, but that will probably.
Which year?
She heard nothing.
Very good point, Frank.
I understand that Lee, our apartments on Main Street or there, has a commercial tenant.
Yeah, there's a dentist.
Yeah, and he's taken quite a bit of the space,
Yes.
from what I understand.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Delighted.
Square feet total, wasn't
He took most of the commercial space.
Yeah,
Dennis office.
it? Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's nice. That's
He's
good.
taking most of it.
yeah, that's what I
It was
understand.
4,800, wasn't it?
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, he took like 3,000. I think there's still 1,800 left.
Rent all their apartments?
yeah, oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
sure,
from,
yeah.
yeah, the apartments are, yeah, they told me they're all rented there.
Good.
And so this was a very pleasant surprise to have a dentist take most of that space. That's great.
Well, the other thing is, everybody was making comments about how unlikely it was that would ever be a viable retail space, and I'm not gonna challenge that thought. You know, who wants retail there? Well, if you don't get retail there and you actually have a use that can fit, it's not a terrible thing at all.
Yeah, that's a nice use.
It's a rateable and a service in the community. and
Absolutely.
Good combination.
Great.
Are these dentists from outside the area or?
I don't know who the dentist is.
I don't know.
I don't know who it is. I just heard that it, he was taking.
Do I
most
hear
of
a
the
turf
space.
war coming? Is that what you're saying?
Trying to get that information.
Do we
out
have
of
any
the
other
applicant, like,
physical
4 feet.
therapists?
That's what.
No pun intended.
All right, so I guess.
Motion?
We had a motion, we have a
Second motion.
second, and we're, oh, you want me to?
Bye, Tom.
Night, everybody.
Good night, Tom. Good night, John boy.